several years, and each year when we bring our group of students from the Quinlan School, it's an important stop to get them up to speed on the political and economic dynamics of the country. This is the leading institution for Vietnam to train the next generation of Vietnamese who are going to be responsible for running this country. What I find particularly interesting, and I think listeners might find interesting as well, is this program is actually largely funded by the U.S. State Department and was founded in 1995 thanks to some very forward-thinking people on Capitol Hill and some leaders at Harvard who said that there's an opportunity for Vietnam and the U.S. to engage constructively again, despite some animus, some obvious animus, as most Americans will know, to build a shared vision around responsible governance and an ability to make the world a better place when Vietnam and the U.S. have better relations. So each and every year we come here, we hear from experts, and we try to add something from the Chicago and the Loyola perspective as well. So this particular visit, excellent students in our Quinlan School of Business learning about Vietnam, visiting the Fulbright Center, and I'm also very pleased and proud to say that Dean Stevens, the Dean of the Quinlan School, has joined us this year, and you're going to hear him for a few minutes and his thoughts on Vietnam and the Fulbright School and possibly ways that Quinlan and the Fulbright University can collaborate, again, around the ideas of a better understanding, cooperation, and mutual peace and prosperity. So, Gamun, Chúc Mừng Năm Mới from Vietnam.
Hi, I'm Kevin Stevens. I'm Dean of the Quinlan School of Business at Loyola University. I'm delighted to be here in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam with a marketing class. This is my second trip to Vietnam. It's a fascinating place. I support this marketing class here wholeheartedly. In fact, I think it's one of the best things we do at Quinlan. I think it's hugely important for us to expose our students not just to the world at large, but also to this country in particular. As an older American, I well remember what our relations used to be like with Vietnam, and I think we have a moral obligation to be here and to partner with our Vietnamese colleagues. You may know that the head of the Jesuits has asked all the American universities, what are we going to do to help the disadvantaged, and what are we going to do to care for our common home, the planet? And so I think Vietnam is a place with a booming economy that still has a long way to go to raise people out of poverty, though indeed it is growing by leaps and bounds. Part of that growth is how do we make growth sustainable, and I think that's something that's a hallmark of Jesuit universities. I am hoping that we can form an educational partnership here where we can send our best faculty to Vietnam and run graduate programs here in the nuts and bolts of doing business, in supply chain, for example, in human resources, and because we're Chicago, in finance, because Chicago is the epicenter of world financial instruments. This is a great opportunity for the students who came here. For me, it's been a learning experience. In fact, my wife, Marietta, a Loyola alum, she came along to be a student in this course and is enjoying it immensely. For those of you who are seeing this and are thinking, should I come to Vietnam? Should I take part in this class? There is no thinking about that. Just do it.
about these things in the sense of books, but among people, among culture, among economic models, society, and in a world that's changing. It's important that people experience this so that they can transform, that they can learn to be the types of leaders the world needs. So we hope others will be inspired to enroll in Marketing 561, to go forth and set the world on fire in places like Cambodia and beyond.
So we are here in Siem Reap, Cambodia. We're in a tuk-tuk ride, head back to the hotel. We just left the night market a few minutes ago. So far in this trip, we've definitely had a time. Tried a lot of new foods. I don't really know the name of a lot of the Cambodian foods we ate. Very delicious. Same with the foods we had in Vietnam, and we're looking forward to hopefully a few good meals in Thailand. A few of the group members are not with us tonight. We got after it a little bit last night and they did not make it out for night 2. But so far it's been really interesting just seeing, the other side of the world. You get something over here that you're not going to get in the United States. You can read every book you want, but really being on the ground, talking to people who live here, hearing about the economy, politics, etc., and especially some of their family stories and their history, it's an experience that really, I think, it's been kind of life-changing. I think we would all agree on that. So if you're looking forward to a great trip and a lot of fun, do see 561.
So we're in a legitimate, genuine market about 60 kilometers outside of Siem Reap right now, and I try to visit this market every few years just to see the evolution of the way retailing is progressing or not progressing and the types of products that are here. And in many respects, it's very much like it's always been. Certainly the configuration is, there are sections where there's clothing, where there's food, where there are plastic materials. This is kind of a cooking area, as you can see. I'm going to go hands to his left, my right. And back the other direction, you can see places that would be set up for people to dine. There are also lots of places outside, a little bit more pleasant place to dine because it's fresher air, sunlight, and so forth. Quinlan School student or graduate, maybe to make this part of the world and certain parts of the world a little bit better places. So we're now actually on the Tonle Sap, and you can see the lake extends beyond the horizon. And what's particularly interesting out here is that we have now entered the area where there are floating villages. So these people out here are on boats with pontoons, and people live their entire lives on these things. And there are even little shops. Some of them are retailers. Some of them are small-scale farms, fish farms. Some of them raise pigs, if you can believe it, on those things. So, really fascinating marketing dynamic. And to the best of my knowledge, your only chance to see this is in Marketing 561 if you're a graduate student. So, welcome aboard. This is our last stop in Cambodia as part of the Marketing 561 course at the Quinlan School of Business at Loyola University, Chicago. This is a memorial to Cambodia's killing fields, and you can see I'm standing in front of a stupa where very sadly, very tragically, there are stacks of human bones and skulls behind me. And as grim as this is, it's a very important place to visit, to pay our respects, and to understand the history and the challenges that some 40 years after this atrocity, the country wrestles with to move forward. And a course like this one is one that gives students not just an opportunity to learn about it in a classroom, but to see it, to experience the suffering here, to have an empathic experience, to understand the Cambodians and their plight, and most importantly, to engage them in a way going forward where we as either faculty or students at the Quinlan School can use our toolkits as we should as part of the Jesuit ethos to help them to make the world a better place, to give them the toolkit that they're going to need to survive and thrive in the 21st century. And that's why we're here. And I'm pleased and proud to say that the group here has been very much engaged, has embraced this. And I look forward to working with them after their alumni and other groups to help Cambodia and to make sure that this country is peaceful and prosperous and part of the community of nations.
So we're at the airport now on the way to Bangkok, Thailand from Cambodia. I absolutely love Cambodia. It was an incredibly humbling experience, the most underdeveloped country that I have been to. So seeing the way these individuals live was really eye-opening. It made me realize that everything I have at home is luxury. And I just can't wait to go back and visit it and check out Plum Street, ride the tuk-tuks, and enjoy the markets here.
part about this trip for me so far has kind of just been having the opportunity to compare and contrast all of the different cultures and all the different histories of the countries we've seen. Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, they have some similarities, but they're so different, and as Americans, we don't really know a lot about the history of any of them. I know I didn't coming into this, so coming in not knowing what to expect and just learning about all of them has been great. And then leaving with a better perspective of how the Eastern Hemisphere operates and how international economics operates in this region. It's been really cool, and I would definitely be open to conducting business here in the future because there's so many opportunities in emerging markets that we just don't tend to think about in the U.S.
having the opportunity to study and visit this area is really important, because I think if you don't come to Southeast Asia, it's very difficult to understand, at least from an American's perspective, what's going on here, because the level of growth and the level of development that's occurring is so substantial, it's so massive, and the transformations that are happening in a lot of these countries are so profound that unless you see it, it's, I think, difficult to appreciate the scale and the dynamism that's happening here. In the coming years, Asia is going to be really the biggest part of the global economy, and I think if you don't understand Asia, a lot of American companies have already long ago started to diversify their operations and set up operations throughout the region. But in the coming years, there's going to be a lot more opportunities to do so. So I think you made a good choice in coming on this trip, and I hope that you enjoy it, but also learn a lot.
last night for Marketing 561 until we return to Chicago. Just wanted to say, terrific group, a great run through Southeast Asia. Pleased and proud to be part of Quinlan and happy to have such a wonderful group of students. Bring on the new year, go Quinlan.